on ITV.ie and Irish News Radio. Today is Thursday, so we're going to run through what's going on in this country. It's a very, very bad situation, a very sad, very scary times as we're going to go through the homelessness, and it's such a huge crisis in Ireland that has been literally ignored as our replacement is being forced in. So we'll go through it. Homelessness in Ireland, a record high since records have began, since the state began. We're going back to the famine. There's been calls for the Housing Minister to resign, but yet there is more Syrian families for leash, and another 22 families, so-called Syrian families. Now, whether they're really Syrian, even though Assad and the Syrian women have called for their men to come back and help them rebuild the country. The war is over, but Ireland, having a huge homeless crisis, is being forced this replacement. It's shocking. So these in leash have been allocated 110 people. Oh God, it's crazy. 110 people under the UN resettlement, replacement more like it, programs. But there's no problem finding Syrians or other refugees or migrants or whatever you want to call them, 2-bedroom homes. And there was 11 3-bedroom homes and 4-bedroom homes throughout the country. But finding homes for Irish indigenous race, no, sorry. It goes on to say the replacing Ireland target for 2015 replacement 13 families, 50 men. Now, what is your idea of a family? 50 men. Now, most of these so-called families have more men, and even when they're called children, they're actually men. It's scary. And that is putting the women of that area into danger, because, as we all know, Islamic men, and they are mainly North African and from not even Syrian, majority of them are from Algeria and different Islamic countries, have no respect or value for women. So what you're doing is not even just replacing the Irish, you're bringing over people to kill them. As we know anyway, he's bringing back the jihadists from wherever he can get them, and he'll stick on an Irish citizen with no blood, no heritage, nothing to do, just to kill us off. So he's bringing these more so-called families, which are majority are men. They're not actually families, unless, like, you've a strange idea of family. Well, I suppose he is gay, but even at that, like, grown children and mainly men. So these aren't actually families in the traditional sense of family. They're all men, and they will put the women and children in danger. Not that Leo cares, because he's bringing in the jihadis to finish off the job. And guess where this money is coming out from? Yes, the Irish council money. All the council budget for lease is going out on these so-called refugees, which are migrants, economic migrants at that, and no money for the Irish, of course. And not even, like, it's absolutely shocking, disgusting. They don't even care. There's nothing you can do, people, now. I think we've really missed the boat on this. They actually don't care. They're laughing at us, the government. So all the council money for council homes, and we already have 10,000 homeless. 4,000 of them are children living on the streets and in unsuitable accommodation with adults, where you have these so-called migrants being given no problem finding 3-bedroom homes for them, 4-bedroom homes for them, 2-bedroom homes for them, but none for the indigenous Irish. And one of the council, he says, we're not looking looking for our own people to get special treatment. That's so bloody sad. And he goes on to say, we just want them to be treated the same. Like, seriously, our own people should be put bloody first. It's their home. They've nowhere else to go to. This is crazy that he's like even having to explain that he's not actually looking for, as he says, our own people to get special treatment. Of course they should get special treatment. This is their land. This is their home. It's the land of their ancestors. But he just even wants them to be treated the same as the so-called refugee, which is economic migrants who are only coming over here for the benefits. Because they get given a house as soon as they get off and given whatever benefits, while the Irish are left to die on the streets. Absolutely a disgrace. Unbelievable what's happening. Homeless Irish children, homelessness is now a national emergency while they're taking in these Syrian refugees. And this the children's right, Tanya Ward, is calling for the Irish government and its failure to tackle Irish children living on the streets, 4,000 and an emergency accommodation. While the refugees, and she doesn't say that because she's probably a leftist, she doesn't actually add it up. I don't know that, but you know, nobody's actually adding it up. It's obvious you're replacing us. You don't care about the 4,000 Irish children who are living on the streets and emergency accommodation. They don't care that we're dying. And they're sending in, mostly these are men. But Irish children are living on the streets in emergency accommodation with adults. It's absolutely crazy. She goes on to say the failure of Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael in childhood homelessness in Ireland has resulted in mental health issues, up to 7,000 children on a waiting list. It's just insane. Children are being put in adult inpatient units. Crazy, crazy people. It's absolutely crazy. And what nobody's talking about as well, which is coming up, is 2020, the Lisbon Treaty. Yes, the same one we said no. And we were called racist, selfish, greedy, and even by the British media. We said no to 3 treaties, but they slipped the unconstitutional illegal votes and passed illegal into law. They forced the fiscal treaty vote that was illegally rigged and passed into law, even though the Irish said no to the Lisbon and to the Nice and no to the fiscal treaty. The results were out before the count even began on Sky and Euronews. Now, this is what's going to happen in this 2020 while we're stuck in. But we've been replaced and left to die in the streets, and our children are dying. And nobody's doing anything other than being afraid of being called racist. So this is what's in. Few of the things that was in the Lisbon Treaty that we actually said no, but we're forced to do it again. And it was illegally put through. And there's been videos and records of where they actually put out the votes before it was even counted, and where boxes were seen being exchanged in Cork. But anyway, this is what's going to happen to us in this 2020 EU with no exceptions. Stock exchange moved from London to Frankfurt, right? That won't be too much. All countries will have to hand over their courts and their countries. So all the courts will be override, their own country laws will be overridden by the EU laws. There's also an army, the PESCO army, if you don't know about that, that will be put into place in 2020. Taxation policy, so all that special taxation will go for Ireland, all our laws, and they will be implementing their own new laws as well. Planning legislations will all be done by the EU, control over all our borders, trade deals, and to set trade deals will be by the EU. This is the end of Ireland. This is the end of the Ireland that fought and died for independence sovereignty and neutrality. It is gone. 2020, the new country is called the EU. And you can't get out of this. We will be forced into an army. And if we even try and get out of it, the army will be sent into our country. Our country has been signed off into a new country called the EU. We have lost everything. The British may escape on the 29th of March. We're yet to see. But we're gone. Our country has gone. The country that our forefathers died for 800 years is gone. The new country is called the EU. And that is about killing off the Irish native race. They are going to bring in a slave like from North Africa who are obedient. That is why the jihadis are being brought into Ireland. That is why that they have no money for the Irish homeless, and they will take out the Irish, even though the Irish homeless in such a bad way, and Irish children is a national disgrace that 4,000 Irish children are living without homes. But yet they're bringing in so-called migrants or refugees. They keep changing the names to whatever suits them. And most of them are adult men. That is to replace us, but also to kill us. The end of Ireland. And you still talk about, the government is laughing at us as when they go on about, the 1916 rising. They're laughing at us. Our country is gone. And it's scary. It's like social Marxism. And, if you talk to people from Poland and ask them what it was like, they say your passport gets taken off you. You can't get out of the country. You queue up for bread. And I was talking to an interesting Polish woman yesterday, and she was like shocked how leftist this country is and how clueless they are of what Marxism and socialism is. And she says when she tries to explain it to them, they just scream her down and call her a racist. And she said, I lived it. It is not a nice thing to go through. And she's settled here in Ireland, and she's now saying she's having to look at going somewhere else because she can't go through that. She already lived that life. She says this country is extremely far left. That she'd feel safer in Poland because at least they're standing up to the EU. This is scary. Our country is gone. And I'm sure it will never happen. It's happening as we speak. 2020 will be around the corner and that Lisbon Treaty will be in force. There is no such thing as the Irish nation anymore. That is why they are flooding us with everybody. To get rid of it. There will be no such thing as Europe even. They are destroying it. This is Hitler's dream. Everything that Hitler wanted, the EU have established. And I was talking to a German young man the other day, and his input was actually quite interesting because I'd always seen it, as, even I've been kind of seeing it, as Poland and those different countries coming together and the West being completely stupid. And he had a very interesting view in it. He said it is England, or the United Kingdom and Germany against each other. And he said this time Germany will win, third time lucky. And it hit me. I hadn't seen it on that kind of view before. But I was like, yeah, you're right. Like First World War, Second World War, and this. But this time it's the German and Franco coalition that is exactly doing what Germany wanted. With the backing of all our traitorous governments who are like, yes, take us too. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. It's scary. I I don't know. 2020, and there will be given out that children will have to join this bloody PESCO army and be sent off. And this army is, all money has been sent, not on, I have no problem giving soldiers money. I absolutely think they should be looked after. That's not where this money is going. It's weapons. And who are these weapons going? It'll be going against us, the people who speak out about the EU. This is the reality, people. Those weapons will be to kill anybody. Anybody even listening to this programme. You could be reported. This is the reality of where we're heading. There is no more freedom. There is no more freedom of speech. And there is no more freedom of rights. We are being enslaved. And I think it's too late for you to wake up. You're almost like the Jews and the Nazism. The Nazis have come. They've been telling you that you're going on this wonderful train and you're going to a holiday camp called the EU. And you're loading up and the government's signing you all in. Look, it's fantastic. Jump on that train to the EU. It's brilliant. It's a lovely holiday camp. And that's where we are. We are the new Jewish. We are sent to our death camps by the EU. And when they come in, their soldiers will come in 2020. And they've already been sent into France. And they are shooting their citizens. They are shooting their citizens. The Yellow Vest movement have been shot at. Criminal activity going on by this EU army. And they have their EU flag. They'll get rid of our flag. The EU flag will be the main flag. We no longer exist as a country or a nation. And our past will be something that will be forgotten. Everything that the British tried to do, the Germans, the EU, the French-German coalition have succeeded with the traitors of our government's help. And everything will be gone and left in memory. We are probably the last generation who will know what the Irish race was. There will be nothing left. There'll be no memories of the Baron, of our music, of our history, our dance, our culture, our ways. It is gone. Everything the British tried to achieve, the Germans have done through the EU, and within a very short space with the help of our government. They signed those papers to jump onto that train to this lovely holiday camp called the EU, and everything would be fine. And if you didn't get on it, you were greedy, selfish, and racist. And you were so afraid of those names, you jumped on the train to your death. And that's where we're all heading. Thank you for listening on The Bon Ree Show on ITV.ie and Irish News Radio.
You are listening to Irish News Radio and irishnews.net. Email news@irishnews.net.